They dug up the info for me and kind of explained to me exactly what this guy's logic was and showed the gyno in question. So this is a post from March 6th. It's fucking inflamed. 0.3 milliliters into the gland. It hurts so bad. So this almost reminds me of What's up guys, Derek, moreplates.com. Today we are going to be talking about the man, the myth, the legend that injected his own goddamn gyno titty with testosterone. So if you ever saw my video about the guy who shot test up his literal asshole, you probably can appreciate the literalness of this guy's approach to gyno management. So if you don't know what video I'm talking about, by the way, it was like, I don't remember what the title was. It was like the stupidest thing I've ever heard or something like that. And it was a guy, you can go watch it if you want to see it. But anyways, in this one, this guy has, I am sympathetic for the gyno development. For the gyno development, obviously, like it's a pretty hectic lump he is dealing with, which I will show you shortly. So I found out about this through the More Plates, More Dates Discord, actually. So if you've been to the subreddit, you'll note there's like a tab. There's actually a Discord server too, where a lot of the people from the subreddit are also on the Discord, which is like a, I don't really know how to explain Discord on here. I'm sure most of you guys already know what it is, but if you don't, it's kind of like a forum with more organized categories and whatnot, versus on the subreddit, it's kind of like chronological order of different, threads and whatnot, and some will get, bumped up to the top based on popularity and shit. But in the Discord, it's more like an actual forum. So anyways, I didn't even know about it until relatively recently, and then I joined, and apparently, one of the most talked about stories on the Discord was this guy in the Discord who was trying to fix his gyno with localized administration of testosterone. So this is Samar. This is the guy with the gyno development that decided to inject into my gyno gland, and fuck, it's swollen and hurts. What compound? Test. So anyways, there's like a whole bunch of information that I'm not gonna sort through all of his posts, but fortunately, some of the guys in the Discord kind of like summarized it for me, compiled some of the most important information that we're gonna kind of talk about what the ramifications of this could be, if it makes any sense, what the fuck this guy was thinking. So I was going back and forth with some of the guys on the Discord trying to, summarize and consolidate the information, because I was just hearing about it for the first time. And, they dug up the info for me and kind of explained to me exactly what this guy's logic was and showed the gyno in question. So this is a post from March 6th. It's fucking inflamed. 0.3 milliliters into the gland. It hurts so bad. So this almost reminds me of the gyno from Temptation Island with how inflamed this is right now. So anyways, he ended up, like I said, injecting test locally into the spot to try and get some antagonism of estrogen-induced RNA transcription at the receptor site, to try and, expectedly you think, logically, okay, if I have all this estrogenic activity that is, exacerbating the gyno, if I just administer testosterone, which would also 5-alpha reduce to DHT locally, maybe I can get some specific effect, site-specific effect. And, some people might think that sounds stupid. When you actually look at the bioavailability of certain, well, he's not even using a SERM, so I guess, I'm trying to, give this guy the benefit of the doubt and try and, wrap my head around the logic here. And he could be fucking lying out of his teeth realistically, but I'm just trying to, explain what, we're gonna get to localized action soon, because that is something I think actually has therapeutic promise. So anyways, he injects supposedly test right into the gland. Who fucking knows if he actually did it? Anyways, everyone, thought it was hilarious. Everyone thought this guy is crazy for doing it if he actually did it. Nipple the size of a fairground tent. And then there was this post where he said, where is it? Did you lower your dose of test or what? No, it's not the dose. It's because I pinned into my nipple. I don't know, LMAO. So, and this was his justification. I've done chest injections with no pain, so decided to do a nipple injection with a Pikachu laughing psychotically. What the fuck kind of emoji is this, dude? Very logical question. Why didn't you just deploy Nova or AI? Wow, people are starting to use the word deploy. I don't know if people actually do that for my stuff or if they actually say that now, but that's kind of funny. This is the summary of his, what led him to this point apparently. So his original username before he changed it. So he's 19 years old, lifted for 2 months before hopping on 500 mgs of test. The classic newbie test cycle, of course, and said, I'm a blast and cruise for life and not take a PCT. I love this sport. He then proceeded to say he was going to add compounds like SARMs. And by the way, it's not like this guy had incentive to write this shit and make this post, because I wasn't even on the Discord until like the last week. So this was weeks ago before I was even on here. So he wouldn't be thinking in his head like Derek's going to find this and like make a video about it. Everyone on this server knew I wasn't on the fucking thing. So I would I don't know how much more it reinforces the credibility of his statements and that he like actually did this, but that's at least worth noting. Because obviously if he knows I'm on there, like maybe he might, you know, be incentivized. He thinks, oh, you know, like get a viral video idea kind of thing. So anyways, that was not the case at the time. So anyways, hopped on 500 test, proceeded to say he was going to add compounds like SARMs. After a couple of months, he said his traps are disproportionately big and he is going to drop to 300 mgs of test, presumably, and still stay on rather than just getting off. He was on several diets, including keto with 100 grams oats for breakfast, but he burned it off, so he went into ketosis still, and the protein only diet where he ate only lean meat. So if you're wondering why he's giving a summary, by the way, it's because he's basically consolidating everything for me in one like concise little paragraph, so I know what's going on without having to dig through the entire historical posting of the NIP guy. So, you know, all the shit he did that then eventually culminated in him jabbing a goddamn dart into his titty. So he injected into his nipple, because why not? He injected into his nipple, because why not? Causing it to be inflamed drastically, and then he left. He also asked if he should do self-surgery to help his gyno, then he left. So, okay, so anyway, the gyno is not this bad normally. It was this after the shot, which obviously you would expect that if you jab fucking oil with anabolics in it, that it's not going to respond super favorably, you know? It's like if you jabbed it into I don't even, fuck dude, like this is obvious shit. So obviously, you know, this is I don't think I need to tell you guys not to do this. It's just another drastic example of the measures some people will take trying to potentially, I don't fucking know if he did it, but anyways, potentially thinking that it's going to cause some sort of attenuation of his issue. So anyways, after I saw the summary of all the information, I thought, okay, obviously a good video idea that might pick up steam and then give me a little platform to kind of catapult into the discussion of gyno management, which, you know, I talked about how I was kind of just like brainstorming while I'm typing on the Discord. I was like, so he's not way off thinking about localized administration. Obviously, don't inject into your tit. That makes no fucking sense. But it's not actually that. It doesn't make... The compound selection is what makes no sense, considering downstream it aromatizes into estrogen itself and is what led to the fucking gyno to begin with. So, like, the likelihood that he's telling the truth, I don't know. But as far as localized administration, it's not totally nonsensical like you would think. Like, if you had a compounding pharmacy that made topical raloxifene, for example, the bioavailability of this SERM is actually shit. So if you had a way to apply it literally directly to the spot where you want estrogen receptors to be occupied by this drug that otherwise gets nearly completely destroyed during the ingestion process, does it actually seem that illogical to, you know, locally administer something? No, I don't, to be honest. I think that actually is a, you know, reasonable thing to explore further. Having a, even if you had like a topical DHT, not a DHT derivative, like straight DHT, like there's a reason why guys with micro penises, if you apply topical DHT, what happens? They respond. Like, it actually can grow to a, like, obviously you have that disparity where you should have been otherwise if you had adequate DHT production during your teenagehood. But I'm just saying that there is, you know, evidence to suggest that topical localized administration of hormones can actually have a significant effect. So with something like a SERM, which is obviously the no-brainer thing to go to rather than testosterone, especially if testosterone is what caused your problem to begin with, or too much testosterone is what caused your problem to begin with, I should say, among a myriad of other things, probably like lifestyle, diet, body composition, sleep hygiene, blah, blah, blah. You know, using a topical SERM, or even if you really wanted to, a topical DHT that literally antagonizes or inhibits estrogen-induced RNA transcription at the receptor site would probably do something effective. It may actually, you know, significantly reduce the gyno. Now, obviously, if you have a full-formed lump, getting rid of it entirely is likely not going to happen with just pharmacology. You're probably going to need surgery if you totally want it removed. However, a lot of guys have had success managing and reducing to such a significant degree that it's nearly unrecognizable with aggressive SERMs like raloxifene. And when I say aggressive, I just mean therapeutically, in a clinical setting, it seems to have more therapeutic promise than Novadex in terms of gyno management. So it is kind of like the gold standard of SERMs when it comes to gyno specifically. As far as it being used in a post-psychotherapy context, subpar. It's not as good in terms of inhibiting negative feedback via the HPTA, consequently leading to enhanced GnRH, downstream to LH and FSH, blah, 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 which then enhances your uptick in testosterone production, blah, blah, blah. But as a selective estrogen receptor modulator for attenuating gyno, it is the most effective SERM that I am aware of. So it's the superior choice, and I think topical raloxifene could be a reasonable thing to explore. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that certain compounding pharmacies do actually make it now. Like when I was looking at some of the product lists of some of the compounding pharmacies that my HRT clinic uses, I'm nearly certain I either saw topical Novadex or topical raloxifene. And this was like back when I made my video on topical nandrolone and kind of discussed what kind of merit that may have in a you know, certain scenarios. That's kind of where I saw it, and I kind of, you know, skimmed over it. Didn't really think I had it didn't really apply at the time to even speak of, but now, you know, it sort of does now that we have this guy goddamn pinning into his tit. So localized administration of things that bind to estrogen receptors may have promise. I just would not inject them, probably, you know, it's probably not the best idea. So anyway, something with low oral bioavailability may be worthwhile in a topical setting for sure, especially when you're like literally applying it right to where you want it to bind. So when it comes to gyno management, you know, what is the most logical first step? Personally, is it, you know, should you go for an AI? Should you go for a SERM? What should you do? You know, I think if you have a definitive lump, like it's different if you have a little bit of sensitivity, you know you're on your way, because at that point you can use modulation tactics that may be as simple as use less of the shit that's causing you to get gyno, or using something over the counter that may be specifically attenuating whatever it is that you have to a, you know, some degree that's effective enough to manage your current state whilst you reduce your, you know, stimulatory inputs of whatever it is that you're taking that's causing it to develop to begin with. But if you're like full blown into gyno territory and have like definitive progression where it's not just like, oh shit, like it's a little bit of sensitivity right now, and you've already tried all of like the obvious shit you should be doing, like increasing administration frequency, lowering the dose of whatever it is that's problematic, blah, blah, blah. That kind of stuff, you would look at a SERM over an AI, in my opinion. A lot of people, they take the approach of, let's nuke my estrogen with letrozole, instead of taking the approach of, let's selectively bind to estrogen receptors and, you know, modulate them, as the name implies, and actually allow your brain, your heart, etc., to still get adequate estrogen receptor activation, so you're not inhibiting things that are actually health protective. Rather, you are targeting the issue locally where you want it and not inhibiting shit in other areas of the body. That is the ideal therapy, in my opinion. Not crushing estrogen to zero in your entire body, causing cardiotoxicity, neurotoxicity, bone mineral degradation, blah, blah, blah. All this kind of shit you don't want. That kind of stuff is it makes no sense when you have the option of something that's targeted therapy and will not fuck with everything else versus something that's just a nuclear approach that, sure, it can help resolve it as effectively potentially, but with all of this other satellite interaction that is harmful to you in many different ways. So, you know, the obvious choice is a SERM, in my opinion, when it comes to gyno management. Obviously, if you're not at the point where you need surgery or you're able to manage it with just pharmacology. Raloxifene, I think, is the no-brainer go-to. It's superior to tamoxifen from what I've seen. The only problem is access legitimacy, you know, just like the basic logistical concerns, it's not as easy to find high quality raloxifene as it is tamoxifen because it's just not as popular of a drug overall in the bodybuilding scene. But yeah, that would be like the ideal SERM in my opinion for managing this issue rather than, oh, you know, get on your Arimidex right now or crush your estrogen to zero with letrozole and it's impossible to develop gyno. Like there's more things that can contribute to gyno above and beyond just your estrogen levels too, which a lot of people don't realize, or they probably do, but they just don't think of it. Like things like progesterone, prolactin, IGF-1, estrogen, like cumulatively, they all add up and can cause this development. It's not just estrogen doing one thing and it means you have high estrogen if you get gyno development. All of them can add up to one cumulative fucking you over, and you don't have enough of the inhibitory properties of the androgens you are taking in order to attenuate whatever it is. So, you know, obviously the first thing you should be doing before you're throwing drugs into your system too is where in this sequence of events am I fucking up? Because there's a reason why your prolactin's fucked up. There's a reason why your progestogenic activity might be fucked up. There's a reason why your IGF-1 could be problematic. There's a reason why your estrogen could be problematic. And on the flip side, whatever your inhibitory properties are of whatever it is you're using exogenously, why is that not sufficient in order to stave off this? Why is your cycle poorly designed where you're ending up in a position where you have gyno development to begin with? This is the kind of thing you should ask yourself when you are making your cycle and or in the middle of it and you start experiencing side effects. You have to really take a step back and be like, what did I fuck up? And or like learn about your body. You could have genetic polymorphisms that inhibit estrogen clearance. You could have a lot of shit going on that you have to really take into mind. And even things as simple as your body composition. If you're a fat fuck, you're 25% body fat and you're on D-Bull-Deca test, what do you think is gonna happen? You know what I mean? This is the kind of shit that like you really need to consider beforehand and be well planned for. But anyways, the nuclear SERM of choice, well, I guess I wouldn't call it nuclear, the most intelligent thing to deploy, of course, with your doctor's recommendation, you know, not listening to YouTubers and shit, I would run this by your doctor and be like, based on this clinical research, it seems like raloxifene is the most promising gyno attenuating thing that I have seen. What do you think? This would be what I would run by him. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that, learned something. Thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, don't inject into your titty, obviously. Follow me on Instagram, @MorePlates_More_Dates, Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below, including my TRT clinic. It's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home. I believe we may have access to topical raloxifene and Novadex, but you'd have to double check that with my clinic, because I don't actually remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that would be very cool if we did, to be honest. So that is worth checking out. And anything else I'm associated with, including my recommended lab tests and diagnostics, all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.